Hey everybody, it's Dave. I'm back. Well, let's talk some lanterns today. Camping lanterns. We've got lots of choices here. So this everybody's familiar with a Dietz kerosene lantern. This is one. I can't remember what color it was originally, but I painted it with silver heat paint. It started getting a little chipped up from use and everything. But we still use these when we go camping. We like these. Love the light that they put out. Last a long time on a tank of fuel. This is the number 20 size. And I have some others. Actually, I'll pause right now and I'll go get a couple more that I have. So here's some more kerosene lanterns that I have. This one I bought years ago at a garage sale. It was a rusted hunk of junk in pretty bad shape. I ended up buying a new globe for it and a new burner assembly here that just rotates in. You can buy in the wicks. I mean, you can buy all the parts for these things to restore them. And I got this one functional, although I don't use it. It just sits outside for decoration. And this one is from my childhood. This my dad gave me. We used to use this power outages when I was a kid, and unfortunately, it developed some holes in the tank. I did repair it years ago and used it for a while, and then I ended up putting that gas tank liner, that liquid. I forget. Pour some POR 50 or something like that. I forget what it's called, but I put that in the tank and it seemed to work okay for a while, but I don't use it anymore. It's I said pretty old, and I'm not sure. It's not a Dietz. I'm not sure of the brand. We can zoom in on it. Maybe you've seen this type before. I think it might be made in Germany or something like that. Anyway, so that's it for the kerosene lanterns that we like to take camping. Like I said, this silver one, this is the one we use the most, we take. But we also we like to use these. Got real popular. These things are great. LED. Now this one I did modify too. This is a metal table and it has strong magnets on the bottom, so it's wanting to stick there. This small one I haven't done anything to. Okay, so this is what this one used to look like, but you know, it's daytime now, but if it was nighttime, you see how bright that is. It's kind of blinding if you have it, excuse me, sitting on your table. You know, trying to play cards or whatever you're doing and stuff. It's kind of distracting. So I diffused this one, and it's actually just strips of milk jug that I cut the size in between each one of these little sections. In here, there's little ridges. So I just cut strips out of a milk jug and slid them down in there and friction fitted them in there. And then it stays in and it's diffused. And it's just the right amount of light. And this model also has the light on the top, and then it has a flashing red light. You can even see it out here in the bright daylight. But this is a Avant. You can pick these up off of Amazon. I think we got a 4-pack of them for 20 bucks or something like that. Really cheap, but I did sew up some padded cases for them, kind of protects them. I just took cloth bags and put some padding in there to protect them for travel when we're camping, so they don't get busted up. But these are really handy when you go camping. Nothing wrong with them. Put out a lot of light, portable. The batteries last a really long time in those too, so that's pretty cool. Let's move on to some candle type lights that I've made. Let's see, okay, we'll start with this little guy here. It's just a little tin can with a copper wire where you can hang it for tea lights. And I did put a little tray in here to hold the, so you just kind of throw it in there and it keeps it in position. And then I like to put, when I make these little things, not all of them, but I like to put them in the rain, you know, in a light rain, and somewhat windproof too, you know. I mean, these things are great, these, you know, hurricane lanterns, whatever. You know, they use them in the rain and wind and all that stuff, and they don't blow out. This would probably blow out if you didn't have, you know, but in a light rain, light breeze, you know, it might stay lit. I poked little, you know, holes. I think they call these pierced tin lanterns or something like that. And I've made a few of them over the years, but this is a little one that I made a while ago with a roof on it, so that it can be out in the weather. Moving on, this I call my hot sauce candle lantern. And the reason I call it a hot sauce candle lantern is because this is a hot sauce bottle that there's plenty of videos out there to show you how to do this, you know, where you wrap string around. I actually made a little jig where I could score this. It messed up a little bit right there, but I scored it, you know, with a glass cutter. And then I used, you know, a piece of string with lighter fluid, heat it up, and then quench it in water, and it just falls right off, you know. Anyway, so this one here, like I said, I call my hot sauce lantern. So it just uses little candles, and you can also use the little tea lights in this too. They fit in here perfectly. Like, we'll take that one out. There you see, it fits perfect in there. Yeah, it's just a base of walnuts that I made and bored out with a large Forstner bit. And then this is just copper wire. It's 10 gauge copper wire that I bent and soldered together. And then the patina on it, kind of interesting. I used a mixture of salt and vinegar. Put it on a paper towel, laid it over this, and within like an hour it had this really neat kind of green aged look patina instead of the shiny copper like it used to look like this. So that was kind of cool. And then, yeah, a long time ago I got a bunch of these little candles, and so I wanted to find a, you know, make something where I could utilize these little candles because I had a whole package of them. So so I made this where you could use those little small candles. They only burn for about 20 minutes or so, but you know, probably about like those do anyway. And then this little guy here I made too, to use those little, and I made it where it folds up, and it's just a piece of brass that I bored a hole in, and this I should tell you about too. This is aluminum. I checked it. I think it's 24 gauge aluminum, and it's a little bit heavier than flashing, because I think aluminum flashing is 28 gauge. This stuff's just a little bit heavier. It still bends real easy and it's easy to work with, but I made this too where it rotates, so you get a little light reflected off of it and stuff, and then like I say, it folds up, you know, just out a piece of scrap of cedar. But that's what this roof here too is. It's that same aluminum that I think it's used for ductwork in houses. Comes in big rolls, and I was given a roll of it years ago, and I'm always trying to find uses for that stuff. Always trying to find uses for it. Okay, here's another one that's pretty cool. I like how this one turned out. So this one, real easy, just take this out to light it, and then put it back in. And then what I did, this is epoxy to the base. This is actually a paint can lid that I pulled out of I threw away and then pulled it out of the trash and said, oh, look at that, it fits on there pretty nice. And then this is some of that same 10 gauge copper wire, and I just soldered it. I drilled a hole in the paint can lid and then soldered the wire in there. And then on this, glass jar, this was actually for a candle. I just took some red coated wire and twisted it around there to make that pattern. And then made the bail to hang it with, and soldered all that together and painted it. And then on this part, I pop riveted it. So I took a piece of, that same stuff, this aluminum 24 gauge aluminum, and cut out a circle, cut a wedge out of it to make a cone. And then this is brass, a little thin, a little bit thicker than shin brass stuff that I soldered onto this metal ring, and then pop riveted it on there. And then this one you can also use in the rain, light rain, if it's not coming down, blowing like a hurricane or anything. But if it's just a light rain and stuff, you could use this out there, and you can hang it, So that's about all I got to say about that one. What else? Oh, and then this one I made. Kind of the same. I mean, it's a tea light lantern, but this was actually a glass, a cup. Now this, might have to explain a little bit more about this one. So you can take that out to light it and stuff, and then this lines up. But so this was just a little small glass that the tea light fits into. Little glass this is a little glass that the tea light fits into. And then this is just a scrap wood base. Oh, I glued a piece of felt on the bottom. See, so I won't scratch that. Okay, but this is I believe this is just galvanized wire I used on this one here. Yeah, I used some galvanized wire, and I just bent it, drilled holes, epoxied it into the wood base. And then this is actually soft copper tubing that I used here, drilled a couple of holes into the sides of the base, came up, and then this was the tricky part. There's my first attempt. Pretty bad, pretty nasty. I was trying to use there again that 24 gauge aluminum, and it's just too thin, and I kept burning through it and everything, trying to braze it using those aluminum brazing rods you can get at like Harbor Freight. And you can just they call them welding rods, but it's really like brazing with aluminum that you can use. You can use propane. You can use propane to just get aluminum to stick together. You know what I mean? And so this one here, it came out a little bit better. It was still a little bit tricky because, okay, I needed to solder it here, here, and here, or braze it, or whatever you want to call it, at the same time. Well, you get this plenty hot enough here, and you already have this done, and then this wants to fall off because it gets so hot. So, and I had some heat paste, but I had very little bit left, and it helped because I put a little bit around here. This was all before I painted it, and so it kind of helped. It kept these soldered on little tabs from falling off using the heat paste. It's Calgon brand heat paste. I guess they're still in business. I had that tube for years and years ago, back when I made a lot of knives. I used that stuff a lot. Okay, so so I ended up switching over to a heavier aluminum, which welded better, brazed better, so it kind of stuck together. I used a piece of aluminum tubing here, drilled holes in it, cut little tabs, stuck it in there, bent it over, and then put a bead around it here, and then I formed this little aluminum cap and a die. Just took a hammer and made it where it's domed a little bit. And it was really kind of trying to, the whole idea was, I think this will fit, yeah, that'll fit in there without but I made it where it hinges, so it makes it easier to light if you need to. But yeah, kind of made it to kind of look like a Dietz lantern a little bit, but it's a candle lantern. So yeah, that's a candle lantern. That's a little candle lantern. Okay, moving along, I have a few more to show you. This is one bought probably at a thrift store, I'm sure, years ago. And although I don't use this, I did take it apart, paint it. Oh, it kind of screws in. So it's a little, it's a little kerosene lamp. It's a little oil lamp that screws into the bottom. But it has green glass, so it kind of doesn't put out very much light. And this, the wick was terrible. It won't stay lit for very long. I put another wick in it and it did the same thing. So yeah, this is just for show. I don't use this one. I could modify it, make it work with a tea lamp, a tea light, a candle. But with the green glass lens in it, it doesn't put out, you know, very much light. It would just be for aesthetics. But it's kind of a neat little lantern. It's okay. All right, put that off to the side. And then, oh, this is just a little, yeah, I mean, this, you can call it a Bunsen burner or whatever, but it's just like a little jelly jar. I made this years ago, and I forget what I was even using this for. Something, but I mean, you could, and then you just cut a slit in and you stick the wick through and adjust the height of the wick and everything, and yeah, just fill that up with lamp oil or whatever, or it'll probably run on any kind of oil. Yeah. So that's a real easy little, that's stuck out here. I should say the inspiration for maybe this one here came from James Bender at Waypoint Survival. He's got a survival school in Ohio, and I've watched quite a few of his videos. He does some really good stuff. He's got a hobo series he does, and old-timey stuff that people carried around and used for camping, and he covers a lot of really interesting topics. And he made a little lamp one time out of a baby food jar. That's what it was. And I mean, it kind of inspired me to make these little small, lightweight, compact little things. So here's one. This is a olive oil. This is an olive oil lamp I made, and you can use this in the rain too. I thought it was kind of neat. And so you just this is a little jelly jar, and real simple little mechanism. You got your little oil with your wick. This is a fiberglass wick, and I thought really it was going to be way too big for this, but I burned it a few times and it really isn't. I mean, it puts out, you know, quite a bit of light, and it does soot a little bit. It smokes a little bit, you know. It's not real clean burning, but I don't think it would be even with a smaller wick too. But yeah, I made it to where you can pack it away with the lid, fits tight, the oil doesn't leak out when you put it on and stuff. And then it takes a little bit to get it lit. You can't just take a match to it like to a candle, you know, you have to heat it up a little bit first. But once you get it going, yeah, it burns real good, and then you can hit this up and you can use it out, you know, if it's sprinkling. If it's sprinkling or drizzling or whatever, you could use it. Okay, I guess that sounds goofy.
I like it.
You don't?
I like it.
Oh, okay. So yeah, if it's doing this, let's try that. No. So anyway, let's see. Do I need to explain how I made this little mechanism? So this is that same stuff, that 24 gauge aluminum, and it comes with, I would assume it's like a powder coating. Here it is on the back of this one, and it's like white, like a off-white color on one side and a white on the other side. But I found that when you heat it up, you just hit it with a torch, You just wipe it right off. It turns to powder, and you just wipe that coating right off, and that's what it looks like underneath. It's all shiny. So yeah, so on this one, there again, there's that same 10 gauge wire for the coil and the wick holding mechanism inside. And then I took a piece of the copper, the 10 gauge wire, and I wrapped it around the neck of the jar. And then I took a piece of brass, thin piece of brass that looks like it's thin. It's like, 18 gauge, 20 gauge or something. And I bent it, and I put a couple of very small riv nuts in holes I drilled. It looks like 632 size, and a couple little stainless steel bolts. And I soldered the wire onto the brass there to hold it, and it's firm. It's on there. It's not going anywhere. And then, and then the bolts, and that allows it to pivot. And then I just bent this up out of that aluminum and pop riveted the lid on. And then, I say, you can put the lid on, get it nice and snug, and then this just folds right up, and fairly compact, and you can throw it in your pack, and that'll burn a long time too. With that amount of oil that's in there, that'll burn a long time. And yeah, it kind of gives a little weather protection. So that's what I wanted to do with my lights, is make them to where you can they can have a little bit of wind resistance, wind protection, protection from the wind from blowing out, and have a little protection if you get caught out in a little bit of drizzle or some rain, and it won't snuff them out, Like, so many people are making these things, but they don't have the lids on them, the protection, that you get just having that. Okay, so last but not least on this, on the lamp series video, we have this little gizmo. Let's see. It's a little tea light also. So this is so simple, guys. Anybody can make one of these things. And look how compact it is. Stick a little rubber band around it, holds it all together. I had to kind of think about this one for a little bit. How I was going to do it just to make it simple. Because I was trying to overcomplicate it like I do a lot of things. But yeah, you just slip this right in here. So you not only have wind protection, you also have little reflective properties to it, with the shiny metal, and then you got your little rain lid. So if you're caught in the rain or whatever, it won't snuff your little candle out. Theoretically, I haven't put these through the stress test yet in the rain or anything like that. So, but I assume that's gonna be better than if it was just walking around with a candle like this, having this little gizmo here. But yeah, as you can see, it's just a block of wood, and I put I'm stuck in there. Anyway, it's just a block of wood. It's just a block of wood with a hole drilled in it and a slot cut in it for this 24 gauge aluminum that I've been using. And I just riveted a little hinge on it. Had to flatten them out so that it would, fold up flat and stuff. And then just bend it to where it slips over there, and it's nice and compact. And then, like I said, I just take a little rubber band, and that holds it all together. And look, pretty lightweight and very compact. Throw it in your backpack. Head on up the mountain. And when it gets dark and rainy, you have light. I hope you kind of enjoyed looking at my lanterns, looking at all my lights I have here, and that I've made, modified, restored. Windy, hot day. And